Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Justice Pending. I'm Claire.
And I'm Susan. And Claire, today's case truly is one of those cases that never leaves you once you
Y-
know about it.
Yeah, no matter how many years pass, I'm still thinking about this one.
Yeah, it's because on paper, it really feels solvable, but here we are.
Yeah, so today we're talking about Ashley Oakland, a 27-year-old realtor who was shot and killed in 2011 while working inside a model townhouse in West Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, this happened in broad daylight, middle of the afternoon, other people around. I mean, it's mind boggling here. But more than a decade later, her case remains unsolved.
Yeah, so special thanks to Jim H., the listener who brought Ashley's case to our attention with a comment on Spotify.
Yeah, we do read the comments, everybody. We love when you recommend a case for us to cover, and we love when you give us your feedback. So thank you.
Yeah, so this was a case I remembered hearing about it, but I hadn't thought about it for Justice Pending. But it really is a perfect fit for this
Yeah,
because we do not know what happened to Ashley all these years later. And we deserve the truth. Her family deserves justice, and it's really just hard to believe that something like this could happen just middle America, right? This isn't a story about hidden worlds or shadows. It's really just someone doing their job.
that's right. It's like routine and how violence can interrupt that. I mean, without warning. It is shocking because it is so unexpected.
Yeah, so let's talk about who Ashley was.
Yeah, before we talk about the crime, we really do need to talk about Ashley. Ashley Oakland, she grew up in central Iowa. She was involved in sports, dance, 4-H, piano. I mean, very, very, very wholesome in that Midwestern sort of way.
Right. She graduated from Iowa State University, and by her mid 20s, she'd found her stride in real estate.
And as so often, victims are described as she is described as optimistic, inclusive, someone who made people feel seen. She just seemed like a really sweet, sweet girl.
Yeah, she was known to volunteer, mentor people. She showed up places where she was needed. I think if you're a realtor, you've got to be pretty outgoing,
Yeah,
right, Susan? You got to
yeah,
be a go getter, people person. You have to be able to make small talk and introduce yourself to strangers. And, that was Ashley.
yeah. And it seems like she loved her job, and it's like you have to be comfortable around strangers too, which she clearly was very trusting.
Yeah, it really makes the way she died just feel especially cruel. Like it was preyed upon, her kindness and her openness.
Yeah, I know. So let's set the scene. It's April 8th, 2011. It's a Friday afternoon, and it's shortly before 2 p.m.
So Ashley was inside a model townhouse on Stone Creek Court. She was there to show the property as part of her job as a real estate agent.
Yeah, and then nearby, a construction employee hears a commotion, and when he goes inside, he finds Ashley on the floor, and it's not
Yes.
pretty.
No, she'd been shot twice. So paramedics are called. She's rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately, tragically, she does not survive.
And then, of course, the police are called. They clear her. They were clear early on about one thing. They really don't believe this is random. There was no forced entry, no signs of a struggle. But at first glance, it's like, well, it is sort of an open house she is
Right.
showing. So, you know, it's a hard scene to process, I imagine.
Yeah, because people are going to be showing up to this without an appointment, right?
That's
They
right.
don't they don't know who's coming. You're there, you're prepared to welcome anyone in
Yeah,
and with open arms and not to have like I've never seen security at an open house,
right.
right? That's
Right.
kind of the definition of welcoming, right? Just come on in.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, it's It's really tragic.
It is, Ashley's mother has a quote that is just absolutely heartbreaking and, knowing her daughter and her line of work, and she said she probably looked up, smiled, and that was it. I mean, ugh, just terrible, and that's really a line that stays with you.
Yeah, it does. It's such a visual. And you just wonder, why would someone do this? What are they getting out of it? Is it a thrill kill? I mean, there's no um, robbery motive that I've ever heard. Over the years, investigators have followed nearly 900 leads, Susan.
That's crazy. I know I
Yeah.
saw they interviewed 500 people. I mean, there have been search warrants, massive databases of names and tips, and yet, Claire, no arrests.
Yeah, so it just seems like they cannot really get anywhere concrete in the investigation. The biggest, like, repeated tip that's publicly known is about a black SUV,
Mhm.
possibly a Cadillac Escalade that was seen near the property. But I mean, could it get much more general than that,
I know.
Susan? A
I mean,
black SUV.
a black SUV near the I mean, ugh,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't seem there's a missing piece here. I mean, for sure.
Yes, and
Yeah.
police have always maintained that someone knows something and that this was a targeted attack. And why they say that, maybe they're holding some things, close to the vest that they know that they don't want to reveal to the public. I mean, other than the fact that this was an open house, this is a model townhome, this is a place that people would go to look at a property. It's really hard to believe that someone would want Ashley Okland dead. What you always look at motive, means, opportunity, and in this case, what does someone gain by killing this young woman in this townhouse?
And at such
It's
close range and
yeah.
in middle of the day with people around to hear it. I mean, it's ballsy. It's very bold.
Yes, yes, absolutely. This case has also forced a larger conversation just in the world of real estate, because this is a real vulnerability here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Ashley was doing something that real estate agents do every single day,
Yes.
meeting someone in a vacant property and, you assume that your professionalism is, equals safety, and unfortunately, it doesn't. So, especially in her case. So,
Yeah.
after her death, security businesses reported spikes in demand, and you can't blame anybody for that.
Right, right. I know a lot of realtors will try to have like someone else there with them. They'll
Yeah,
try to have like a second person who helps them set up or is, parked outside. You try to have some kind of eyes on the property, but it's just not always logistically possible. And you also think like, you don't wanna live like that,
yeah,
right? The idea, that you always have to watch your back and that something terrible's right around the corner and that, the vast majority of, real estate interactions are safe, but
yeah,
something like this, it's like it doesn't matter what the statistics are. It happened to Ashley, right? It could happen to anyone.
that's right. I mean, and as it should have, the case did receive national coverage, newscasts, crime blogs, public appeals, citizen sleuths, all
Oh, yeah.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been all over the place. I mean, I think it was on Dateline. It's
probably. Yeah,
gotten lots of major coverage. Just the idea that something so terrible could happen to someone innocent, caught, just doing their daily work. I think it really appeals to people's sense of justice. That this is something that people want to get behind and try to solve. They've raised a ton of money, Crime Stoppers. The reward is $150,000, which is the largest in Polk County history, but it hasn't led to any arrests.
that's right. And of course, her family has continued to speak publicly, and asking even, for the smallest tip because you never know if that could be the piece that really unlocks the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, they've looked at the fact, like, could this be someone just targeting realtors? And so, even though it was in another state, in 2014 in Arkansas, another realtor was murdered. Her name was Beverly Carter. And this was just 3 years after Ashley's death. And, investigators were were following it. They were wondering, could this be a trend? A lot of times people talk about how hard it is to get law enforcement in different jurisdictions and different states to cooperate, to share information. But at least in this case, we know that investigators in Iowa were talking to investigators in Arkansas about the murder of realtor Beverly Carter.
Yeah, I mean, and, her killer was caught, but
Yeah.
there was and of course, they looked into connections, but they haven't been able to establish a link.
Yes. So Beverly Carter, it was they were able to arrest Aaron Michael Lewis for her murder, and they had some pretty strong evidence on him. And he, I believe, actually admitted to the crime under questioning. And so they were trying to see where he was in
Yeah,
April 2011 because he actually told authorities that he was targeting women who worked alone.
right,
Um, I
right.
think that's one of the scarier parts of this is that Aaron Lewis had no connection to Beverly Carter. He didn't know her.
Don't you think, like, can you please get another hobby? I mean,
Oh,
really, this is it's just awful. I mean, and so
yeah.
pointless.
Well, and it really makes me think about the idea that they're going under the theory that Ashley Oakland's murder was targeted, was personal, was
Right.
not random. But here we have Beverly Carter, another realtor, murdered doing her job, and it is totally random. The killer is actually found and says, "Oh, I was just looking for women who worked alone that I could attack." Like
Yeah. Ugh,
this is horrible. This is really like, yeah, every woman's worst nightmare. Just
disgusting.
the wrong place, the wrong time. The idea that you could be targeted for no reason at all. Yeah, it's really terrifying.
It is. And the whole community really banded together over this. I think they still are.
Yeah.
And one of the most powerful parts of Ashley's story is what came after.
Yeah.
It's really sweet. They dedicated a playground to her, Ashley Oakland Star Playground,
Yeah.
and it's a space built specifically to include children of all abilities, which I just love.
Yeah, her family has talked about how that's aligned with who Ashley was. She was inclusive, she was welcoming, and she had a lot of joy. So it's a beautiful thing to think that her family has found a way to honor her and to make sure that she's not forgotten. Her name is on the playground. I think a
Yep,
lot of people um will go there and recognize that, and it keeps her name out there. And as I know from covering true crime, those unsolved cases can really stack up. They
ye
can really get lost and they start collecting dust. And having the victim's name out there is one way to keep investigators accountable to solving these crimes, to putting manpower, to putting time into these investigations. Because while there are always new crimes happening, the ones that sit on the shelf, they deserve attention too.
Yeah, well, police do still believe someone has the missing piece and just hasn't stepped forward yet, and, the Iowa State Attorney General launched a new cold case unit in 2024, so pretty recently, and officials have publicly stated that Ashley's case is a priority for this department, so that does give us some hope.
Yeah, I think whenever agencies can have a dedicated cold case unit where investigators are going back through these case files and following up on leads and looking at witness statements with fresh eyes, I
Yeah,
think that's the best chance of them getting solved. And the fact that this is a new unit, I hope that they're able to really dig in and go down a path that no one has, before, because that's how cases get solved, Susan. It's not usually flashy or something fancy. It's a lot of times it's just good old fashioned police work, just digging in, looking at everything, and following up. You know how many times people the tips are like right there, right? But
Right.
they aren't followed up on. I think we've seen that whenever cases finally do come to light and they finally are, solved, and they look back at the whole trajectory of the case, and there's usually some breadcrumbs there along the way that weren't picked up immediately. So,
That's
never
right.
hurts to look again.
It never hurts to look again. Fresh eyes are, like you said, so key in a lot of this. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Justice Pending this week, and we'll be back next week with an all new case.